Welcome to Catholic News World.
Welcome to Catholic News World. Please subscribe to our channel. My name is Steph. Here are this week's breaking news headlines.
The Diocese of Quebec, Canada, announces that Pope Francis has appointed a retired judge, named André Denis, to investigate its accused Cardinal Gerald Lacroix. Bishop William McGrattan, Bishop of the Diocese of Calgary and President of the Canadian Conference of Catholic Bishops, said of the accusation on January 25, 2024. It was reported in the news that Cardinal Gerald Cyprien Lacroix's name has recently been added to a list of clergy and pastoral workers who have been accused of sexual abuse in a class action lawsuit against the Archdiocese of Quebec. He has issued a statement and he has communicated his decision to withdraw temporarily from activities in his diocese. Within the Catholic Church, Pope Francis has established a clear procedure that must be followed when an allegation is made against a bishop, as outlined in Vos Estis Lux Mundi. According to the Catholic Register, the alleged incidents are said to have occurred in 1987 and 1988 in Quebec City. Lacroix was ordained to the priesthood in 1988. The alleged victim is a 17-year-old girl, court documents say. The woman has not been identified. In a March 4 statement, the diocese wrote, "The officials who ensure the governance of the Archdiocese of Quebec during the temporary withdrawal of the Archbishop were informed on February 8 that Pope Francis had mandated Mr. André Denis, retired judge of the Superior Court of Quebec, to conduct an investigation into the alleged offense, in accordance with the provisions of the Motu Proprio Vos Estis Lux Mundi on the handling of allegations against a bishop, archbishop, or cardinal." André Denis is the only person in charge of the investigation, and it was possible for him to make his mandate public if he deemed it appropriate. The diocese will offer its full collaboration to Mr. Denis upon his request, but will not intervene in the progress of the investigation or in its conclusions. We will not make any further comments on this process, which takes place without intervention on our part. 3 Catholic nuns have been kidnapped by armed bandits who forcefully entered an orphanage in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. The 3 religious sisters are from the St. Joseph de Cluny congregation. The former pastor of the St. Gerard parish in Carrefour-Fuilis, Father Gilbert Peltrop, reported the news on Tuesday. Vatican News explained that heavily armed men invaded the premises of the La Madeleine orphanage, where several sisters of the St. Joseph de Cluny congregation reside. In January, 6 nuns were kidnapped but subsequently released a few days later. BBC News reported that thousands of inmates escaped in a jailbreak at the beginning of March. The gangs have taken over all the airports in the country. The gangs attacked several public buildings, including prisons, and private hospitals, among them the Catholic Hospital St. Francis de Sales in Port-au-Prince. The kidnappers had not yet communicated with the leaders of the religious community to demand a ransom. Insecurity in the Haitian capital has reached alarming levels, with gang assaults on police and correctional facilities. Over 5,000 inmates are free following an armed attack on March 2 against the National Penitentiary and the civil prison of Croix de Bouquets. The gangs are seeking to overthrow the government. Many institutions, including the Catholic Church, have fallen victim to insecurity and gang violence. In addition, 6 male members of the Sacred Heart congregation, including 5 religious brothers abducted on February 23 in Bicentenaire, have not yet been released. Please pray for the release of the religious kidnapped and for peace in the country. A warning has been issued to churches as a burglar, impersonating a priest, has been traveling to churches across the U.S. and stole $900 from a New York church, is now wanted by police. The suspect told a priest at the American Martyrs Roman Catholic Church in Queens on Sunday afternoon that he was also a man of the cloth, visiting the church from Rome. The priest invited him into the rectory, where he allegedly stole $900 in cash from the priest's bedroom. Father Peter Rader said the man was acquainted with their names, used vocabulary a priest would use, and knew where to go. Father Rader explained that when he confronted the so-called priest and asked him to show proof, he left. The NYPD said he drove a dark-colored sedan. "It's very sad that someone is going to come on to any house of worship and just violate everybody," Rader said. The Diocese of Brooklyn said a man matching the suspect's description told similar stories at a church in Suffolk County and at St. Thomas Aquinas Church in Brooklyn. Authorities believe the alleged conman's crime spree extends beyond New York to other states in the U.S. The Catholic bishops of Ireland call for an urgent and complete ceasefire in Gaza. On the second day of the spring general meeting of the Irish Catholic Bishops' Conference in Maynooth, the bishops called for an urgent and complete ceasefire in Gaza, and an immediate end to the daily killing, wounding and destruction of property in the Holy Land. They wrote, "We echo Pope Francis' heartfelt appeal for a complete ceasefire in Gaza. Enough, please. Let us all say it, enough, stop. Stop the war." In saying this, we join with many in our parishes, together with all people of goodwill, in demanding an immediate end to the daily killing, wounding and destruction of property and infrastructure there. We call on the Israeli government to comply with basic human and international standards in ensuring that Palestinians have full and unimpeded access to food, water and basic safety requirements. At the same time, we call on Hamas to release all hostages and to end missile attacks on Israel. Equally, the attacks on Palestinians in the West Bank, which do not command as much attention in the public sphere, are also to be condemned. What is happening in this region cannot be morally justified. The current aggression is not a war between Jews and Arabs. People of all faiths, including many of the Jewish tradition, oppose what is happening and the effect it is having not only on Israel and Palestine but throughout the wider Middle East and further afield. There is no future in the perpetuation of conflict and human suffering. This is especially so when one considers the intensity of what is happening in the Holy Land. The only future is one of dialogue and the putting in place of a sustainable plan for a just peace for Palestinians and Israelis, and that brings to an end the occupation that has for far too long denied Palestinians their rights and freedoms. International efforts to secure a ceasefire are welcome. However, as the death toll continues to rise, all possible pressure should be applied to prevail upon Israel to desist from military operations that impact so horrendously on innocent civilians. Equally, any international support for Hamas terrorism is utterly unacceptable. The international community has failed to vindicate the right of the Palestinian people to a safe homeland, with statehood and freedom of movement, as part of a two-state solution which recognizes both Israel and Palestine. In this season of Lent, we Christians prepare for the celebration of the Paschal mystery of Christ's death and resurrection, as Muslims prepare for the season of Ramadan and Jews prepare for the celebration of Passover. We urge people to continue praying and fasting for the intention of peace. In praying for peace in the land of Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, we remember in a special way the small but vibrant Christian communities in Palestine. We implore Almighty God and Jesus, who is the light of the world, to shine a light into the terrible darkness that envelopes the region that we call the Holy Land. In the face of despair, we renew our prayers for a just and lasting peace that respects justice and the dignity of all peoples.
Watch our programme every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Catholic News World channel. God bless.
Please subscribe to Catholic News World's YouTube channel. Thanks and God bless.